Well, I initially came to you because I had seen your website and thought that perhaps you could help me. I had had many years struggles with anorexia and bulimia and come to a point where I had was really unhappy with my weight, even though I had recovered in the sense. And basically, I was never satisfied with food. I would eat but never feel like it satisfied me. I wasn't satisfied with myself as a person either. Yeah, oh, definitely. Like, I think there's one thing to say, oh, I've put on this weight that's meant to make me suddenly be cured in a sense, but I was still the same person on the inside who had all those emotional struggles to deal with food. And that is what I really needed true help with. I felt too like with other people's help, there's a period of time, a brief period of time when you feel like, oh, I'm okay. And then you come crashing back again and realize that you're not really in the place where you need to be, in a place that's okay, in a place that's truly healthy, and in a place where you're truly okay with who you are as a person. And I just felt like I had seen so many other people, but never gotten the real answer that I needed to help myself feel better. I guess it was you being able to combine your counselling skills with the nutrition side of it, but in a way that really recognised, that they do need to be separate issues. I don't really know how to describe it. It was just different from everything else. Just so different. And, like I remember after our first couple saying, I haven't seen you frequently or very often, but it was just that bum steer in the right direction that I needed, the tools to be able to enable me to take it on board and go, I can do this. The tapping was helpful. Definitely it was helpful. It was that acceptance of the feelings and being able to go, I'm okay to feel like this and I'm okay as a person, even though I do feel angry, even though I do feel sad, even though I do feel, all those different feelings, to be able to tap and work them out and separate them from my need to eat or not eat. Previous approaches is always seems to be it's not okay to feel angry, nearly, you can't feel angry about that because everybody's been wronged in the world, or everybody's had an issue, or you can't feel sad about that because somebody else's situation is so much worse. So snap out of it, nearly a brushing off of it, no acceptance of, well, this is actually very real in my life, and even though it is just feelings, like they say, and feelings don't matter, those feelings still actually hurt me as a person right now where I am. And so why should I have to just brush that off because it is affecting me now as a person? And the other thing is that they just say, well, we'll talk about your feelings. What are you feeling? Talk about it. And you're supposed to reveal your everything to this one person who isn't necessarily someone who you may have chosen if you're going through, treatment in a hospital or something. And you're suddenly meant to feel okay with them just listening to you talk. Like, that doesn't fix anything either. Or the other thing is you're told, you're going through a hard stage at the moment, and once life gets a bit better for you, you'll start to feel better. Well, I had a beautiful marriage and a wonderful family life and a fantastic job, but I still wasn't in the place where I needed to be emotionally with food. But yet if I had followed everything they'd said, I should have because my life was pretty good. So it doesn't line up. I feel okay to be me, and I don't think I've ever felt that before in my life. So there's that sense of genuine self-acceptance, and I'm okay. Yes, I struggle sometimes with feeling X, Y, or Z, but that's okay. I'm still okay as a person because of that. And I still felt like, even though I was eating what I was supposed to eating and had perhaps put on even too much weight, which is very hard to stop when you are in that recovery phase because you're still using food as your emotions. But I finally learned to eat when I was hungry and to stop when I was full. And it's so liberating to actually be able to have that sense of here's my emotions and here's my sense of true hunger, and to separate them instead of getting them all mixed and matched together. You know, that sense of if hunger's not the problem, food's not the solution. Or I don't have to starve, or I don't have to hold it off later and binge, or I'm not, oh, I feel so angry, I'm not going to eat for a week. Like, it was really finding that balance for me, because I always went from one extreme to the other. It was always 1 year of this and another year of that. And now it's been like 3.5, nearly 4 years of just complete self-acceptance and separating my emotions from my food. And I've never ever done that before in my entire life for the last 30 years prior to that. I have a sense of freedom. I really do. I'm not sitting down constantly thinking or worrying about food, and it doesn't consume me from the inside out. I have night times to myself now where, I may have pre-made something and have some time, and instead of sitting there being so preoccupied with food and emotions and thoughts and all of those things, I can do hobbies. I can do things I enjoy. I really have that freedom, which I've never felt before. I always felt bound to do things that were part of the eating disorder. But I feel too that now, like I said, being able to sense the true hunger and genuinely feeling hunger, I can go and eat something that is nourishing for me. I don't feel this sense of urgency of, I've got to have something right now, which I realize now is to do with emotions. More often than not, when you feel that way, it's emotionally eating. So I don't rush out to get my next fix. I come out and can prepare myself something that is satisfying, nutritious, and good for me without that sense of urgency. I guess I feel like too, it's very hard in a society where we're told, thin is good, so thinner equals better, to step out from that and go, you know what, yeah, I'm going to be who I'm going to be, regardless of whether that's big or little or in between. I have to find what's right for me. And for me, that, like I said, is really separating the food and the emotions. And I don't fear social events anymore, whereas I always did before. You have to go and you have to eat because it's polite, or you have to do this or do that. And, I go, and if I'm not hungry, sorry, I don't want something. Even if it's, perfectly healthy fruit platter or whatever. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And that's another thing that I've had to learn to let go of, is people's opinions of me and the way we're eating. I don't really care what other people think. I finally know I'm in the right place, doing the right thing. And I think you have to be able to let go of what is socially acceptable. People make you a cake or something, and, well, I don't want unhealthy food in my body, because I know that I feel better when I am eating well, and I feel okay to decline things when I need to, whereas before I felt a sense of pressure. I do think it is a sense of, not only are they trying to refeed you to eat, but it is, you shouldn't have foods that you're afraid of, or you shouldn't have foods that are on your blacklist. Now, I'm not afraid of food. I just choose not to eat what I know is unhealthy. And it's that simple. And you know what? Yes, I do still see it as black and white. There are definitely foods that are black foods that I won't eat, but it's not coming from the eating disorder anymore. It's coming from, I genuinely 100% want to fuel my body with what I know is healthful, with what I know is full of nutrients that is actually going to nourish me and make me feel better too. Why would I want to eat something that's going to make me feel like crap, or is going to cause a disease that, you know what, I really don't want to have that if at all possible. I want to give myself the best chance of life. And that's why I have a black and white list, not to do with the eating disorder. And it feels different to say that now than it did all those years ago. And so I do think that sense of, and part of refeeding in a hospital treatment system is, you've got to be able to eat chocolate, you've got to be able to eat this, you've got to be able to eat that, which is all just crap food. I have known people who've come out the other end and ended up obese after being in treatment for anorexia, because they are now taught that they are okay foods, but then using their emotions in another way, but still having problems with eating. Not at all. not like, and if I perhaps have a day where I'm like, I'm really emotionally struggling and I would sense that, oh, I just can't stomach lunch, I'm not going to eat today. And then, perhaps I feel that for an hour and then I go, oh, actually, I'm genuinely hungry. Let's go and choose something helpful and healthy to eat because I'm allowed to feel the hunger without feeling the emotion with that. So I really have just been able to separate them, and I haven't had any sense of not doing that for those last, 3.5, 4 years. I jumped on the scales last weekend and I was 50.0 kilograms, and I stood there and realized I don't even care what the number is, which was pretty amazing for me. But because normally I'd go, oh, damn it, if I lost 100 grams, I'd be under 50. So that puts me at a BMI of about 19.5. And my clothing size is a bit less than an 8. Usually when I put an 8 on, it's too loose. And I don't care if people think that that's little or big or whatever because I know that it's right for me. I'm not very tall, and yes, I still have a little bit of fat around my body parts. I'm a woman, but I'm okay to be me.